Hey, Nicole.
Hey, Nikki.
All right. You ready to get into it?
I guess I am.
Okay.
And get it started.
All right. Well, you know how we begin. We always start with our
Sponsored.
sponsors. So we begin with Irby Entertainment. I
Irby
see you rocking
Entertainment,
the hat.
rocking the hat. And Irby Entertainment is an international DJing company as well as urban wear company. So we got that going on. So if you are a DJ and you want booking engagements and things like that, take care of you. If you need apparel, we're working on our own line. So look for more when it comes to Irby, when it comes to that. And I am the co-owner of it. So yep. Who knew? So many hats.
And then we have,
Sheer Dazzle Salon. And I give, Kiki Johnson credit for my braids. So right now I got the whole Janet Jackson look going on. My roots are doing what they want to do. So thus the hat. But next week, um, really the week after next, because we tape the day before I get my hair done, you all will see my traditional style. But I'll be going back to a protective style. But Sheer Dad Salon is located in Chesapeake, Virginia, around or off of Sam's Circle. So, please get in contact with Kiki Johnson or the lovely ladies there. They will get you right.
okay. And then we have,
Color You Cosmetics. I'm the proud brand ambassador for Color You Cosmetics. And right now I am rocking one of their lip colors as well as a lip pencil and mascara and eyeliner. So I'm doing a very basic face today. It's Monday. When we used to do the show, tape it on the weekends, it'll be a full beat. But on Mondays, we just lucky that, Nicole just showed up so she wouldn't get fined. So Marshawn Lynch. So yeah. You Cosmetics. All these people can be found on your social media platforms near you. If you're interested in any of them, please reach out to me and I'll get you their contact information. But definitely look for them on Facebook, Instagram, and on the World Wide Web, the internet.
all right, the interwebs. All right. And what what you snacking on over there, Nicole?
Well,
What
you
you got?
know what? I am a pumpkin spice girl. I know you're like, wow, that's interesting, considering that, like, where does that come from? Nubian princess.
You
Yes,
only do it in season. You're
yes.
not
I only do it in season. But again, I am back to the pumpkin spice scones that you can only find at Fresh Market. $4.99. And when I tell you they are delectable and delicious, not delicious or delicious, you have to get them. They are great. And for those of us that may not be into pumpkin spice, I don't know who you are or why you need to convert. They do have cranberry. Okay, I'm not messing with you. They do have cranberry as well as blueberry. So cranberry is kind of, moving into the whole, Thanksgiving, Christmas season type of thing. Blueberry, of course, is evergreen. So definitely check them out. Also, I do have some tea recommendations. Now, some of you all may not live near a Harris Teeter or the way we do here in the South. If you really love something, you put an S on the end of it. Targets, Walmarts. That means you love it. I mean, if you don't put an extra S on the end, it's just whatever.
Right.
Harris Teeter, or like I like to say, Harris Teeters, has cinnamon spice. Let me move around my camera. There's cinnamon spice tea. I'm a 2-bag person because I'm greedy that way. I like my stuff to be strong. But I add, once again, pumpkin spice, silk almond creamer. So we have a few sponsors tonight. We have, Fresh Market. Please don't get mad at me about shouting out Harris Teeter, but they had some tea I like, and I may feature one tea that's only sold with you all. Silk almond creamer can be sold anywhere. And cinnamon sticks we all know come from the international market because if you buy it at a regular grocery store, I'm so sorry. You've done yourself a disservice.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
go to the international market to get that, and that's what I'm sipping on. So what do you have for a snack? Because you can't talk about movies, you can't watch a movie or Netflix and chill without appropriate snackage. So what type of snackage do you have going on over there, Nikkei?
So Nikkei can't eat popcorn because, I gotta be
Yeah.
different. I gotta be different. The kernels get stuck all in my, and it's painful, and I'm bougie anyway. So, you know,
There you go.
I have my popcorners. And I don't like, the only other extra flavor I like besides sea salt is the caramel covered. Because,
Mm.
once you get into barbecue and that fake butter, not the butter, what's the other one? Anyway, all the other flavors, I can't.
Oh, you
So,
mean the white cheddar? White
yeah.
cheddar isn't good on everything.
Mm-mm. It's not good
It's not
on
good on
everything.
every.
No,
Yeah.
it's not good
So,
at all. Just leave that.
well, I
So
guess
I
both
have,
of us are bougie. You have those. I guess
yeah,
both of us are bougie because who eats scones to watch a movie?
it's
Got to put,
perfectly
you have
normal.
to drink my tea with my pinky up. You being extra fancy.
Listen, the other day I went out and I ordered oolong tea, and the guy seemed really impressed by it. He was like, I was like, dude, would you stop looking at me and bring it? What's the problem here? Doesn't everyone order that? Yeah.
No,
I don't know what's wrong with the rest of them, but they should.
I
It's
don't
good for
either. We
digestion.
need to bring them up to our standard.
I know. And maybe it's because I said it right too. I don't know. But anyway, today we are talking about Ma, 2019, leading actress Octavia Spencer. And this is a big
Mm,
deal. This is a big deal
it's a very
because
big deal.
you have a black leading lady in a horror film.
Yes.
Yes, yes. And she did the thing. She did the thing. What were your thoughts on this one?
You know, it takes a special kind of person to go from the help to this. If you really want to prove that you are a true actress, you have to transform yourself into something that's unrecognizable. Now, when you look at her physically, she's lost some weight, since she did the help and that type of stuff, hairstyle change, wardrobe change, all the stuff that movies do. But
Hmm.
it's that persona that comes out that makes you different. The way your glare is and your tone and the inflection in your voice and your mannerisms.
Hmm.
She did it. And I was trying to think of the last time that I can remember because I didn't do my research. I'm here to let you all know that I'm the fluff person on the show. Nikkei and Don, Nikkei and Don do the research. So I'm like the little sister just shows up and I'm just like, they're the, they're the
Um,
serious movie buffs. So if you watch enough of these, you're like, well, you know what? If we really want some deep insight, it's Don Nikkei. If we just want some silly and some goofy and some out the box, like what was that? Nicole is there for that. But I was trying to remember, and you probably did your research better than I did because we all know I didn't. But my
I
thing
didn't do
is,
deep. I didn't do a whole lot of deep diving on this one. I did watch it 3 times, but
well, they diving it up because my first of all, the fact that you watched it 3 times, my head is off to you because that means I have to leave my house 3 times because what I'm not going to do is watch it in my home, and that's for us to have a discussion about that on our media platform that we have, where we kind of get a little
but
deep.
this wasn't
But I
that
want
big.
to say
It
well,
really wasn't. It wasn't. It wasn't. I'll
it
give you
doesn't give
that,
you
but
the
go ahead.
creeps. Like it doesn't give you the creeps like someone's going to come in your house and stab you in your sleep.
Right.
But it really makes you think about how relationships with people
Hmm.
and and how folks if they are psychotic, once they once they realize they want you dead, they just want you dead. It's just that's it. By my
Yeah.
point blank. And I don't
Hmm.
know what is worse, to be hunted like that or just be shot randomly. Because you think about that, some thought went into what she did. But getting back to the research, I think the last time, not the last time, but this kind of took me back to Beloved. Beloved was like that for me. You
Mm.
know, when it came to how Oprah was totally different in Beloved. If anybody's seen Beloved, nothing Oprah has ever done did she ever look like her. Even when she did Sophia in The Color Purple. So even and how that that movie evolved and how just dark and sinister it was, and you're just like, wow, when is that gonna let up? Now that's what I'm looking for. When is the sinister part? It's like, can we get some rainbows, some pixie dust? It was
And I'm
just so
glad.
sinister to me.
I'm glad you mentioned Beloved because we got to add that one to our list too. Because every time I see Oprah in
Me
something,
on the
I'm like,
inside.
she can act? Oh my gosh, she can act. Even though I've seen her act before, I'm still like, she can act every time.
Yeah, because she's like a triple threat, when it comes to what it is that she does. And
Hmm. Hmm.
that it's the sinister part for me when it
Yeah.
came to Mom. It was like, what did you think about it?
Um, Again, seeing her come off of roles where she was either the maid or she was doing something where she's being sassy or funny or whatever, this was a shift. And it's like you said, it's not just that she was just being creepy, it's that she was being calm creepy. It was that, oh, hey, you want to come to my house? And then all of a sudden there was a temper. And it was like, I'm ramping up. Oh, let me pull it back. I'm going to deal with you differently. And it was like, oh, snap.
Hmm.
Oh, dang. And there was her, just to give you the setting. I know the movie was filmed in Mississippi, and I forget the town that it was in. I don't think the setting was actually in Mississippi. I forget the community that it was in. I think they made this more West Coast.
Yeah.
My memory serves right. I think this was like Nevada or something like that, where it
Hmm.
was supposed to take place. But anyway, the town wasn't a character as much as
Yeah.
um, the community, if that makes sense. It was supposed to be a small, quaint, not so
Any town,
diverse
yeah,
community.
yeah, any town USA.
Right.
Kind of what they portray, and I hate to make the comparison, but I'm going to. What they portray um the movies on Hallmark to be. That is not the script. It's not like when you look at the skyline, oh, that's Chicago. or,
Right.
you look at the Golden Gate Bridge and say, oh, that's California. It's one of those things where this could happen in any small town in any state, you
Right.
know.
And like I said, the main feature is it was not a diverse community. Literally, it was Octavia Spencer and the black kid were really the only, and another black person. They were the only black people there. Okay. When I say not diverse, I mean not diverse. Okay. To set this up right for you. And so, that kind of works its way into the story, even though it's
Mhm.
not the major part of the story, but it gives you the picture of part of the reason why in her youth she was the outcast.
Yeah.
Okay. um and they do little flashbacks between her teen years and then into her adult years, and they give you the sense that times have changed and people are more accepting in this fast forward 2019 present day. world.
But you don't forget,
Right.
because trauma, PTSD, and ill treatment, and
Mhm.
and how that
Right.
that pressure cooker of all that going on.
Right.
You can't. You really can't mess with certain people because you don't know how it's going to manifest. And I think that's what, if I could just fast forward to say, the takeaway from this is that be careful how you treat people. Be
Mhm.
very careful.
Oh yeah.
You think that you treat people any kind of way, say whatever you want to say, do whatever you want to do, and then you don't realize that karma can be visited upon you in a variety of ways.
Right.
And it could even be visited upon you by the same people that you just don't know.
Right.
And
You
I,
you
and
think a
I, and
person is weak, and then you mess around and find out.
that they're crazy. And crazy out trumps, well, yeah, psychotic out trumps whatever level of mean girl you ever thought you had, because this person is willing to kill you, bottom line,
Mhm.
and your whole family, and not think about the consequences. And they're willing to die on that hill. So I want to be taken out by the police. I want to slit my own wrist. I want to go to jail and sit there for 25 to life. I'm going to, ride the lightning. That's what they call it, electric chair.
Mhm.
I'm going to take that needle, because at the end of the day, I got out of it what I wanted to get out of it, which was getting you back.
And can we just mention that she worked for a vet, so she had access to a whole lot of stuff and wasn't afraid to use it.
Which, that's interesting. So, can we say that she treated these people like animals?
Ultimately, yes. Hmm. 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 So, and here's the thing. What I notice is in most of the movie rating places, the movie got low ratings, and I think the
Mm-hmm.
reason why it got low ratings, it was like 5 out of 10 stars. In some places, it was 2 stars. And honestly, it's not a bad movie, but it's not a horror movie. Like we're talking about it on the psychological end, it's more of a psychological thriller.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things that happens is as soon as you put a black actor in a prominent role, all of a sudden the industry doesn't know what to do with the movie because they're more worried about, okay, is the mainstream audience going to show up to see this? Because are they going to go see a black actor? This is not typically how we would cast this. And I think that might be some of what happened with this movie. I think they took the risk and labeled it as a horror, where it would have been just fine if they simply labeled it as a psychological thriller.
Psychological thriller. But you know what? I think that when you look at the genre as a whole,
Hmm.
whether it was a black actress or not, and I do agree with you what you're saying when it comes, specifically to mom. Have you ever noticed that they really do have a difficult time labeling things like that? Other movies as well. They'll call it a horror film, but really it leans more on the psychological part, because I think that people are more comfortable with being afraid in the general sense of, like I said, someone coming to my house and killing me in my sleep,
Hmm.
or trying to, run me down in the woods and I fall. Then
Yeah.
I put that in. Hollywood, are you watching? So I think I think that they're more people on the surface are more comfortable with that than really getting in the head of somebody that's a lunatic.
Hmm.
I think that when you look at some of these movies, they throw them in the horror genre because they're like, you know what, it'll sell the tickets. People will be more comfortable with it, because a lot of people don't look at all the information before they see a movie. They look at the
Yeah.
trailers, the commercials they see on television. They look at those little snippets and they run based off that. and what they put on television is the highlights, and that may be those pieces may be the scariest parts of the movie, like the shock
Right.
effect stuff. But really, the movie is a little bit on a slow uptick because it's building on the suspense.
Right. Right.
So I think you're right that
Hmm.
they didn't know how to label it. But I also think that for marketing purposes, they mislabel a lot of this stuff, period. A lot of
Yeah.
stuff to me that's come out within the last 5 years has leaned more on a psychological thriller end than horror to me, like pure
Mm.
horror. So
Yeah. Yeah. Because I was really frustrated when the way they labeled oh, what was it? The way they labeled Us.
yeah,
No, not
but
Us. Get Out, because they labeled that, I think, horror and comedy. And I was like, why would you label it horror and comedy?
I'm
It's
gonna
not
tell you,
a comedy. And once they did it, I figured out why. It's kind of the same reason, the way independent authors used to um, categorize their books on Amazon
yeah,
until Amazon tightened up their stuff.
yeah, yeah,
You would find
parameters,
whatever obscure categories you could put it in to make sure you got on
yeah.
one of the bestseller list,
Hmm.
you know. So I was just like, I was like, but that's not comedy. This ain't funny to black folks. This is what scares black
It's a
folks.
fact. I'm like, I don't know who's laughing. It's not black people,
I
but
mean,
you know,
there
the
may have
sad,
been funny parts, but
and
no.
that's what it was. It was the funny parts were with the best friend, period. Everything else was creepy, scary. I
Right.
I still can't get out my head. We got to get back to this movie. When
Hmm.
dude ran up on him at night, that right there took me clean out. The fact I'm
Yeah.
still sitting before you is a miracle, because when I tell you that it's something about being in pitch, and if you've ever visited the country or grew up in the country, to be in an area that's pitch black dark and to have something just emerge from the darkness coming dead at you and then deviate real quick, yo, that right there, I'm like, okay, I'm done. Pat
You
my
swinging
hands up.
before it gets to you. Okay.
I wasn't ready. I'm just telling you, I wasn't ready. So yeah, they did it because they were trying to get us out thinking black people are not gonna come and see a horror film, even if there's black people in it. And if they believe it's gonna be a kiki ha ha, and and the Peels are known for comedy. They roll into this stuff,
Right.
after the fact. So I think they try to hitch the wagon onto them for that. But we were ready and we supported and we came out and we watched it. So
Hmm.
you're right. So when you look at this film,
Hmm.
what are some major just takeaways or points that you got out of it outside what you just recently mentioned?
One of the things that I notice is Daryl, the only other black, well, the one of three black characters in the movie. He was the only one that was like, yo, something don't feel right. I don't think we should do this. And when they got in the house, he was like, yo, Ma, what's your name? He was
Mm-hmm.
like, yo, I need some names. I need IDs. Let me put this address in my GPS because
Mm-hmm.
if I die, if I get unalived, I want my mommy and daddy to know where I'm at.
Need to
Who I
find
was.
me and give me a proper burial, because at the end of the day, that I think that's the thing that freaks us out more than anything. Because as a brown people in general, brown and yellow people,
We
we
need
are
our
really
faces to
funny.
be intact.
We're
We need
really
all
funny
our
about
parts
that.
to
Well,
be
who's got
healthy.
the body? Well, are they looking good? Do they look like themselves? We were really that's a major
Okay, are
deal.
all of the organs there?
That's a major.
Make sure that they didn't stuff the body with cotton or newspaper or anything like that. Make sure the
Oh,
organs weren't harvested. Check
we
for
we
everything.
we check for everything. Because
Okay.
when I look at Big Mama, guess what? I better see her in that box. I promise you. Oh, I'm flipping over everything. So that's how we are. We need to know. But then again, we also are raised to ask questions like that. We just don't be going with anybody. Because we
Okay.
want to be able to be held accountable. Well, where were you? Well, who were you with? How long were you there? What did y'all do? Who else was there? Let me call her mama. Let me call her daddy. What her grandma say? Why would? Because you're going to get that
What they look like?
when you
What were they wearing? Okay. Hold on.
were you not
Hold
paying
on.
attention the whole nine.
I
So he
raised you
knew.
better than that. You can't hang
Were
out
you
with them, all
were
of
you
it.
focusing? Are these your real friends? I ain't never met them. Who's that?
Okay.
So yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
We
So
could
he
we
asked
could
all the right questions while everybody else in the group was like, "Oh my God, it's okay. Let's just go along with this. She's cool, you know." And he was like, "All right, I'm hanging out with y'all because you my ride, but I don't feel right about this, you know." So there are little details, and I don't know if he like improv that. I'm guessing he might have, but it's like that detail. All right.
he was like,
Got
look,
that piece right. But it's like, along the lines of what you were saying, it's like there are levels to this thing. And, you know, you can push a person but so far,
so far.
and you don't know what things a person will hold on to. This was 25, 30 years later. This woman stayed in that community. She stayed in that community and still was unseen. She still was under the people knew she was there.
On the radar.
But you think about when she had went out for drinks, the way she was treated when the guy said, "Hey, why don't we go out for drinks?" And then how she was handled when she sat down to have drinks with him. Just how insincere he was in that moment. It brought everything back for her because it was like, you asked me out for drinks and then you pull the rug from me again. It was high school all over for her again. And even though she didn't show it in the moment when he walked away, it was like at that moment she was like, all right, I got one for your ass. Back to what you said, it's like you cannot mess with people and always think that you got the upper hand on them,
Mm-mm.
because people will start showing you their true colors and you may not like it. Some people are good for a conversation. Some people will say, all right, you got me on that one. You don't ever have to worry about me again. And some people will hook you up to an IV that you may not want to be hooked up to. So, yeah, you got to be very careful. It pays to be kind is the ultimate lesson.
It does, and
That's
pays
the
to leave
takeaway.
people alone. It pays to leave people alone if you're not gonna be sincere about your dealings with them.
Right.
That's what pays to because for you to go through the trouble of mistreating someone, that's an active role you're taking versus just
Mhm.
letting them be.
Right.
It's better to ignore their existence than to attend to them in such a way and not know how those repercussions are going to fall, because at the end of the day, she brought the burden on the seed of these people. They're kids. You know, she didn't come directly for them. She didn't go. She moved from the bottom to the top. She was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna hurt you I'm gonna get you where it hurts. You
And
know,
let's real quick talk about even. generationally, what she did, she was like, I don't want my daughter exposed to it. And the
Yep.
levels, the extreme that she went to keep her daughter away from it, almost killed her daughter. So it's like, yeah, yeah, and
So
it's, yeah,
go ahead.
and her daughter saw through it, but felt powerless to do anything. And it kind of makes you think, all right, is her daughter going to be a repeat of her mom?
Girl, apple tree. Let me tell you something. Still waters run deep. And all it and the thing about psychosis is that all it really takes, if you are genetically predisposed, all it takes is a series of circumstances or one major event to flip that switch.
Yeah, yeah,
And that's it. People are gone. I've known of situations that's happened to people in my life, not in my family, but just in a community. And you always hear about that one person that was normal until.
yep. That's always the story. They seem so nice.
Yeah,
This never happened in our neighborhood. We didn't expect it.
normal, normal until they
Mm-hmm.
had that one pivotal experience that took them down a dark path, and they never resurfaced
Back
in
over
this way
it.
again
Yeah,
positively. Yeah.
yeah. So on a scale of 1 to 5, what do you think?
I'll give it a 4. I'll give it a 4. It wasn't perfect.
Mm-hmm.
I I did like I did like the way it developed, and that it didn't make her just some type of barbarian. Because sometimes, when you have killers, I think what makes us connect with them better is when you really believe that there's a thought process, no matter how crazy it is, behind why they do what they do.
Right.
So I like the fact that there was some type of connection as to why she sought these people out versus she just woke up one day and said, yeah, I just want to kill a whole bunch of kids. You know what I'm saying? What was her why? The why was really clear. And I like the way they connected the why to the now. Because sometimes movies kind of leave you flat with that. You like, you're struggling trying to pull piece things together,
Mm-hmm.
but this one didn't do that. So I would give it a 4. What would you think? What did you think?
I think the same. Um, and for the same reasons. You found a reason to sympathize with the main character. She wasn't being random.
Yeah,
Um, you understood she was actually sick, not just violent for no reason. Even
yeah.
though, ma'am, they have this thing called therapy. Go get you some. you know? But again, once you look at the whole picture, the environment, the setup, and just the constant ding, ding, ding,
It was
ding,
toxic. It
ding.
was toxic for her. It was
Yeah, it's like,
undercover toxic for her.
yeah, like the water droplet on the forehead, just
Hmm.
nonstop. So
Yeah.
yeah, I would give it a 4 for the same reason. It's not a perfect story, but it's a good story. I think, in other arenas it was probably unfairly rated, and because it was mislabeled as a horror when it's really a thriller.
Yeah, and I'm gonna be honest with you. I think that the fact that she targeted teenagers and a certain kind of teenager,
Hmm.
people never say it, but I think that's why I fell flat too. If you were to swap it out and the kind of teenager she was targeting, and if there wasn't some type of racial under and overtones about what was going on,
I think if all parties were the
mm,
same, it would have been a
yeah,
different thing.
it's a racial, because when you think about it, it makes people feel uncomfortable that their treatment of another race or another gender or another group of people can lead itself to those people attacking their children. That's
Mhm.
something that people don't want to they don't they, they
Fathom.
don't they don't want to fathom. So,
Mhm.
and then it kind of points a mirror in their face, like, okay, well, who in high school
Yeah.
or am I growing up or and in my community did I treat poorly because they were poor or they weren't the same color or they weren't the same um they didn't have same sexual preferences, whatever it was that made me unkind to them. Could something like this be visited upon me because I was ignorant enough to think that I could treat somebody like that, and us moving on and growing up and going our separate ways, they grew out of it or grew past it?
Right.
No, that
That's
stuff
not
is fake
who I am anymore.
anymore. And people think that somehow that absolves them. No, it doesn't. You
It's called
still did what you
apologize.
did.
It's called
Exactly.
correct your
Honor
behavior
the
and apologize.
Exactly, but people don't do that. They're feeling like, oh, you should have gotten over it by now. We were just kids. It happened so long ago. I really didn't mean it. I didn't know what I was doing. They're very flip with it. But then they're surprised when people are not as flip or cavalier about the fact that's how they were treated. So I think that it kind of fell flat because people weren't willing to acknowledge the fact that they were probably just like those people, but for different reasons.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that is what we have for tonight, folks. We have one movie left in our horror series. I don't know where Nicole is going to go to watch it because she refuses to watch it at her house. I done
Refuse.
watched it 4 times, and I'm going to watch it the fifth time. I might even watch it 6 times because I'm taking notes on it. I'm taking notes. And I
Told you
did
she
watch the
studied.
old one too. I watched the
Yeah,
old one too. Did I tell you that?
you did. And let me tell you something. The old one, I was a teenager when the old one came out. Man. Mm-mm. And we grew up in the inner city. So my thing is that that's a special kind of scary for us because I think that if you grew up in the country, I don't know if you view Candyman the same way as anybody grew up or had relatives that lived in the inner city. You're just like,
Mhm.
yeah, you know, is there anybody scarier than the drug dealer? Is there anybody scarier than
Listen,
than the gang
listen.
members? Is there
I
anybody?
have to
Yeah, it is.
I have to go find that short story that it's based on because look, dude spun a serious tale. He told a serious story that he got people so shook. And the thing is, it's loosely based on a real story. It's inspired by a real story. So now I need to see this thing in writing so I can put the whole thing together. Once you get my cogs turning, I can't slow down. So yeah, I'm all in.
Well, I think Candyman, and we'll talk about further. I think Candyman is it kind of reminds me of Grimm's fairy tales in the respect that every culture has a boogeyman. Every
Mhm.
culture. You cannot name a culture that doesn't have that one person that whose name we dare not speak.
Mhm.
That one person that every child was taught about to teach them not to lie, not to steal, not to be mean, to honor your parents, to honor a God or a greater being,
Right.
because this is what happens when you don't. To come in at night, to have certain superstitious ways about you. Every culture has one, but what makes this extremely worse for those of us that grew up in the inner city is like as if we need one more thing to be afraid of. Do we
Well, the
need one more
great
thing?
but the thing about Candyman is because of And you see this in the first movie because of the way the apartments were built. And that's the thing about horror movies in general, is that there's usually just all you need is a sliver of reality.
Exactly.
And that was enough reality. I told you about the story that happened, I think it was in March of this year, March 2021, about the woman who in New York who felt a draft in her bathroom.
Okay, wait. Let's save it for Candyman. Let's save it. Let's save it.
All right. Well,
Because at the end of the day, it's going to connect with that. And, and I want us to kind of bring it all together. So,
all right.
we,
So y'all can look that up on your own because I gave you the date and I gave you just a little bit. So y'all go look that up on your own so you prepped when we come back. We can talk about that. But yeah, we doing Candyman next. So we'll talk about that then. All right. So we're gonna wrap up. You ready?
we're going to wrap up and let these people know where they can find us and find more of what it is that we have going on.
Okay, so you can find me right there. Right there, right there. NikayWrites.wordpress.com. And I promise I spelled my name right. I learned how to spell my name in kindergarten. All right. NikayWrites.wordpress.com. Uh, Don is not with us today, but hopefully he'll be back soon. But you can
Yeah.
find him right there, donmiskel.com. All right. He is a great writer. Hopefully, we'll see some of his books in movies soon, and we'll be able to talk about them
Well,
here.
it's one I don't want to see. I'll go to the red carpet premiere wearing the baddest gown money can buy or someone can lend me. But what
Did he
I'm not,
publish?
I'm
He published Skitter, right?
he
Listen,
did, but
y'all got to read Skitter.
you all can read. Tell me about it because I told you all have limitations, and that's as far as I go. I love Don. I,
Yeah.
it's nothing I won't do for Don because he's like a true brother to me. But that's where I draw a line. And wherever he gets in a group of people and talks about his writings, sis, you plan on reading? You know the answer to that, boy. That would be a no. Touching that.
Listen, y'all got to read Skitter by Don Miskel. Since we're talking about horror, y'all got to read that one. Okay,
Tell me about it.
that's one of my favorites.
It
All
probably
right,
would.
and then this chick right here, you find her right there, NicoleDeCandice.com. Okay. At the opening of the show, you heard music by Robert Rice Jr., and you can find him over there, smoothology.net. Make sure you like and subscribe to our pages, and you can find us. Okay, this is where it gets just a little bit tricky. You can find
Little
us
Harry.
on YouTube. All right, to find us on YouTube, you're going to go to Media That Moves We, and there you will find all of our videos on Movies That Move We. That's the name of our playlist. Okay. And if you struggle with that, no worries, no worries. We kept it simple. We have a Facebook group called
Yeah.
Movies That Move We. We like to keep it simple. That
But
movie part, you know. Go ahead, Nicole.
have to answer those questions. We have three. Includes your grandmother's maiden name, your fifth grade teacher, and your favorite color, and maybe your last four. No, I'm just joking because people act like we're asking something that's really deep and profound. It's as simple as, are you going to obey the rules of the platform? And what inspired you to? I don't know. It's three very simple questions, nothing
Real
difficult.
simple. It's
But
nothing
what you're,
complicated.
but I'm going to have to put on. I'm gonna have to don my Lake Edwards right now. My hood. What you're not gonna do is think that we're going to let you join our platform by answering the questions. Do you think that we took the time to post them for you? Not, you're going to have to answer them in order to join our group. It's not a secret society. We're not doing blood sacrifices. We just simply want to know, are you going to come up on our page and tear up?
We're
If the
not
answer to
having
that
that.
is If the answer to that is no, and you're going to stick with the tenets of what we're trying to do, which is talk about, movies that impact Africans, African Americans, things of that nature. If you're gonna be a part of that, then by all means join.
Yep.
So I mean, I had to put on my neighborhood hat just a second ago.
Yeah, because we
And
don't do spam and
we
all of that
don't
stuff.
and sales, and I know that you all have some phenomenal pyramid schemes going on. I know
Do
you
that
do.
on your page. Do that on
Do
your
it
page.
on your page.
Yeah,
We're
we're
not
not
trying
about
to be
that.
involved with that. We're just trying to talk about these topics. So please join us there and share your expertise. We have some really interesting commentary up there,
Hmm.
and we get into some deep things. People share some movies and some other media that we're not even as familiar with, and it opens up your scope. So definitely get with
Yep.
us on that.
We have some great conversation starters and stuff. And with all that said, God bless you and keep you. We're going to get on out of here. Y'all enjoy the rest of your day. And we'll see you next time to talk about Candyman. I can't wait to get.
Yes, and to talk about this chick who has breezes coming through our apartment. Yeah, that part. We're gonna talk about that.
Yes, yes, yes. All right. We'll talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.